Hello everyone, today I'm gonna tell you my experience driving in the UK as a European. First, the obvious, which is in the UK, drive on the left side of the road, while in Europe, you drive on the right side. I don't think really this was the most shocking difference. The most shocking for me was driving on the right side of the car and having to shift with the left hand. That's what threw me off quite a bit. So I would recommend for anyone that's coming to the UK for the first time to get an automatic car at first. That's what I did. Now I have a manual, but at first I had an automatic. And so you adapt to one thing at a time. So first you adapt. You don't have to worry about shifting. It's already enough that you're driving on the other side of the road and the other side of the car. So it's good not having to worry about shifting it. Other thing that you have to keep in mind is that in the UK the speed is all in miles, not in kilometers as I was used to. So at first I didn't have like notion of how fast I was going looking at the miles. Um, as a matter of fact, on the first day I got my first car in the UK. I got a ticket because there are traffic cameras everywhere in the UK. So, I learned it the hard way. So fortunately, I didn't like really get a proper ticket. I just had to make a course on which actually helped me a lot with trying to with understanding the speed in miles and the speed limits in the UK. Because in Europe you're used to seeing every time you see the speed limit, be it like 80, 90 kilometers an hour, etc. In the UK, most of the time, you just have, when you go in the open road, you just have national speed limit. It doesn't tell you actually the number. You have to know, um, which would, yeah. So you need to do homework before you start driving in the UK, even though you're allowed to as a European, or you still will be even after Brexit. So that's the practical aspects. Then, as a driver, of course, if you're moving to the UK, you're gonna have to buy a car, and cars in the UK are used cars mostly, um, are much cheaper than in Europe. Certainly, because there's like a huge market for new cars, and so that brings down, and there's no export market, so that brings down the prices even more. Uh, so yeah, you'll find that the cars are much cheaper, but keep in mind that British weather is rough on cars. Maintenance is expensive in the UK, so sometimes you see, oh, this looks like a great deal, but I had a first car I had was like 15 years old, and it was like I didn't really inspect it properly. I would not think that a car this age would be full of rust. It was naive of me. So it had like in the arches and stuff. Yeah, that's what suffers most. But yeah, you need to be careful with that. But if you're looking at cars with just a few years of age, they're much cheaper. So on the other side, insurance is super high, especially if you're a new driver to the UK, and especially if you're under 25 years of age. So my insurance was about 1,200 per year, 1,200 pounds, which was like 4 or 5 times what I paid in Portugal for a similar vehicle, really. Actually, if I had the same car I had in Portugal here, it would be even more expensive. The last aspect I want to talk about is the roads. Many country roads, especially here in Norfolk, in rural areas, roads are so narrow. It's you have to I would say if you're not used to driving in the UK and all the aspects that come with it, buy a small car. Don't buy a big car, because the roads are quite narrow in the UK. Quite a lot narrower than we're used to in Europe. And to add to that, one time I went to Wells next the sea here in the Norfolk coast. Oh my! The road is so narrow. You have a bank on your left side, and on the right side you have Range Rovers passing by. You're just like oh, I was never as terrified in my life. So and as well, the roads are not. The road condition is not super great. It's mostly because the weather is very hard on the roads as well. But yeah, that's the most of it. I think it was good. All right, thank you guys. See you next time.